They're 99% sure. I mean, I'm like, there's obviously no proof of it yet, but there is a second Easter egg. And like, it says the end. Like, when you beat this Easter egg, it says the end. And it doesn't mean it's the end. That means that, like, we failed, like, and this is the end of this storyline. Like, it's hard to explain. So, Dr. Monty basically was just telling us, oh, we need to kill the Shadow Man, we need to have all this universe and save it so the kids can have a good place to live and all that. But on the other side of it, the Shadow Man was just sitting there being like, oh, it's all a lie. Dr. Monty is just trying to trick you into doing stuff for him. And it was all just like, whatever. No, Shadow Man's just trying to trick us to fall in for his trap. But Monty is tricking us into doing this when he knows that it's all going to end up failing, we're going to end up failing, and he's going to have to reset the universe. He reset the universe, and he always keeps himself in power. He's always the one leading the crew. Like, if that makes sense. And this storyline, what we did has happened a million times over, like a billion, trillion times. Monty just uses us to do all this crap for him so that he stays in power and he looks like the good guy. And really, he's the bad guy. He's just using us to do all this stuff for him. And the way it's gonna be is that it's like Mob of the Dead. So Jason Blundell, I'm sure, like, if you guys are like into the zombies community, you've heard Jason Blundell say 100 times, Mob of the Dead is key. And sure, that's like the blood vials, and it links to, there's like the plane is on the catwalk, whatever building that's called, on the Giant. You see it in Shadows of Evil. But that's not what he meant. When you think like when you beat that Easter egg, there was two sides of it. You could I don't remember how it went, but you killed all three of the characters or whatever, I think, and it would say, like, whatever you beat it, the cycle continues. Or if you killed that one character, it would say the cycle is broken. And so basically, like, when you hear the quotes of those characters, there's like, I feel like I've been here before. This is like, something's awfully familiar about this. They say things like that. Like, they know, like, this is a repeat. And that's basically what's happening with our whole characters as a whole. We go through the storyline, Monty is like trying to help us, and so we do what he's asking, and then premise fails, and we just go through it over and over. And I'm sure if you've been like, if you're big in the zombies community, you've heard that too. Premise will fail. Premise will fail. Like, that's just like a thing. Like, you've heard that if you're in the zombies community. And that's what it is. We just go through all this, we beat the great battle, we fail, it resets. And so what we have to do is kill Monty, possibly help the Shadow Man kill Monty, and the cycle is broken. Premise won't fail for the 100 billion trillion time. Like, it's broken, so that's all over. And that's what the second Easter egg will be. Do you really think the last Easter egg ever in this storyline is going to be, oh, let's go and do a pretty easy, not very hard, simple Easter egg. It was hard to figure out, but that's just because of small stuff that was hard to find. But when everyone knows what they're doing, it is an easy Easter egg. The boss fight was so easy. I've beaten it 2 times, first try on each time. And it's the Shadow Man, who we've already beat. We've killed that Shadow Man in Shadows of Evil. And so, the Shadow Man, why I think that you're going to help him, he's going to help you, you're going to help him beat the Dr. Monty, is because he's in this whole cycle too. He's beaten, like he's been killed 100 billion trillion times, because it's the cycle continues. He's been through all this before, the Shadow Man has, and he wants to stop. Like, if you were indefinitely being killed, obviously you would want to stop being indefinitely killed, and that's how this is all going together. You need to let Primus work. Primus won't fail. He needs to stop letting himself die. Element 115 is thought to be a bad thing because everyone figured out, oh, the Apothicans are distributing Element 115. That's where it came from, is this big blue orb. And they're like, oh, it's an evil element, blah, blah, blah. But what if it's not an evil element? What if really it created the ray gun, the Wonder Waff? What if it's just to help us? It created the zombies, but that was a failed attempt to create a master army. It created the teleporter. It created the time machine. It created all this crap. And it is a possibility that the Shadow Man is good. And like when you think, so red eye, or there's orange eyes, that means they're controlled by Samantha, the zombies. Blue eyes is Richtofen, and red eyes is the Apothicans, right? So if you take orange eyes, that's Samantha. Samantha was just a freaking screwed up. Her dad and her dad's partner are both like crazy scientists. And so that could have to do why, like, she has like evil crap. She sends these zombies after us. Then Richtofen, he also is in control, and he's still sending the zombies after us. And so you could think maybe he's already been in the house for a long time. We know that. Like after you beat Gorod Krovi, he's like, oh, we've already beaten this, like, how do I say this? In Gorod Krovi, Dr. Monty talks to you and he's like, oh, you're about to come to the house, but Richtofen's already been there a while. Richtofen's been in the house a while. He's been with Maxis for a while. That means he's also talked and been with Dr. Monty for a while. So he could have been persuaded or forced, without knowing it, to send these zombies after us. And that was the Red Eyes, the Apothicans. If I'm trying to support that the Shadow Man could be trying to help us, and the Apothicans are in control, obviously that is like a big false factor to my theory. And Dr. Monty is like a god. He could be like tricking, like forcing the Shadow Man, forcing these zombies to attack us, when it's like the Shadow Man doesn't want to. Like, it's like if your body was, like if you're possessed in a way, like your body is like doing its own thing on its own, but you're still there, like in your mind. Like if your body was going, and in real life near it's going to take you to kill your best friend, and you're just like, no, I don't want to kill my friend, in your head, but like you can't control your body and you kill it. That could be exactly how the Shadow Man is. He wants to help us. He wants the cycle to be broken so we can stop being murdered 100 times. But Monty is, since he's a god, he's like tricking the Shadow Man into doing this. And so that would explain all the eyes. So if we were able to destroy Monty, which is what the Shadow Man wants us to do. He's like trying to get us to help him and destroy Monty and be on his side. That could break the cycle, and that can mean Premise continues. Premise does not fail. We do the right thing. The Shadow Man is a good guy. The Apothicons are now the ones that are in control because Samantha's dead and she's in the house, so she's really doesn't know anything anymore, so she's obviously not a bad guy. Richtofen is just like crazy, controlled by Monty also in a way. And so Monty's gone. That could be the Shadow Man, like spirit, whatever you want to call it, is free. Richtofen is no longer like crazy after maybe some time, like if he almost needs like time to get rid of all the stuff Monty did to him in a way. So Shadow Man, Richtofen, Samantha are all good. So none of them are trying to kill us. And the Apothicons, aka Shadow Man, who is also an Apothicon, which controls all these other Apothicons. Like when he's like on the B rounds, he's like, let my parasites destroy you. He's in control of them. So with red eyes, meaning Apothicons are in control, if Monty is no longer controlling the Shadow Man, then, and the Shadow Man really is a good guy, he would have absolutely zero reason to send these zombies at us. So we would all be a good old happy family. Apothicons like us, Shadow Man likes us, Richtofen's a good guy, Samantha's a kid, doesn't matter. It just all works out. And that could be how this really is. Like, it just, we kill Monty, however that happens. Maybe we'll even get the staffs for the boss fight. Or the Shadow Man somehow supplies us with staffs or something. And so we get the staffs or something, the Shadow Man's helping us out, and we beat Monty, and the cycle is broken. And so if the cycle is broken, then, and all this is true, then Monty's gone, cycle's broken, premise works out, Shadow Man's good, Apothecon's good, zombies all good, everyone is all together. Richtofen eventually is no longer crazy. It all works out. This is going to be a second Easter egg. They would not make the last Easter egg something so lame like this. Blundell is super smart, and I like guarantee that this is what this is. Like, he's doing this. This is going to be a second Easter egg. It's just so obvious. Like, the staffs, in one of the interviews, he was like, yeah, the staffs will probably make a reappearance. Obviously, that doesn't mean the stupid picture in Keynote or Tilton showing the staffs. Like, really? He said, staffs will return. That is not the staffs returning. We might not even actually get the staffs. We may even just completely get the staffs to play with. The original staffs, not Max's remakes and Origins, but the actual original staffs we could get. And we beat Monty and all that works out. That is going to be a second Easter egg. There's no doubt about that. This is going to happen. Like, it's just so obvious if you really put all the facts together. So, I mean, I didn't do a very good explanation of that, so I apologize for that. But this is going to happen. There's just so much evidence. So, if you just comment what you think about this, and that's going to wrap up this video.